evening, everyone, and welcome to the Saco City Council meeting for Monday, December 15th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Let the record reflect that all members are present this evening, including City Administrator Prescott. And would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 4 this evening, there is nothing under general. Item 5 is committee correspondence to council. Are there any committee members wishing to speak? Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Saco Main Street, I'm thanking everyone and thanking the council on their behalf for a wonderful event and a wonderful day last Saturday, culminating with the Festival of Lights. It was pretty good, even though it was cold. Hopefully the warmth and love shared by Saco residents and other visitors warmed it up a little bit, plus some hot cocoa. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Moving on to item number 6, that is public comment tonight. I will go by the list where you have signed up first, and if you have not signed up, we will get to you after. And for the sake of time this evening, where we do have a very large crowd, I am going to stick to the 3-minute mark. You will speak for 3 minutes. We will not be going over again so that everyone on the list and not on the list has an opportunity to speak. So first off tonight, we do have Kathy Dobbin. Please state your name and record for the address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm Kathy Dobbins. I live at 28 Meserve Circle, and I'm here tonight to ask you to extend the current emergency moratorium another 60 days and begin looking at the process of enacting a 180-day moratorium. The reason behind this request from the residents is that we had a notice taped to our door November 21st and had a town hall meeting with the park ownership on December 9th. You have a transcript of that meeting that I sent to everybody, and along with a packet of information we gave you, including the letters and all of the correspondence we've had with park ownership and the inconsistencies we're finding. The letter that we received raised some serious issues. The first being threats and intimidation, inaccurate and misleading information, and lack of transparency. So when I say threats and imitation, the rent increase is paused. The letter contained failed threats that if we continued down this road, that improvement and maintenance would not be done. It hasn't been done in 5 years. Where is our lot rent going? They are a nonprofit. The majority owner of our park is a nonprofit. They do not pay income tax to the state or federal. They pay City of Saco taxes. And they're saying that the taxes were raised. They have not provided any documentations to the reason for this rent increase other than it was the law, and then they started to represent the new laws in Maine, mainly LD 1723 and LD 1016. And their whole hang up on 1016 is the $10,000 per lot rent on sales for equity firms over $50 million. That only applies if they're selling. We've asked multiple times if they are selling, and they have said no. We have recently found out they were beginning to take bids on their portfolios to include Shady Oaks, Blue Haven, and Mountain Vale as of August 6th, 3 or 4 weeks before we got our letter for lot rent increases. Maine has a first right of refusal law. We have not been notified that the park is up for sale at all. New Hampshire just got their notice last week, and they're meeting with ownership tomorrow to discuss that notice. And they listed on the website, which I provided you a copy of their portfolio, that they know Maine and New Hampshire both have first right of refusal laws. So I urge you to look into extending the current moratorium to protect residents while we get clarification on if we are for sale, and make sure the inaccuracies stop, so that even if the 60 days goes in effect, 180 days is what we need, because we have sought legal counsel, and we are in the process of obtaining legal counsel to represent us in mediation going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, I will ask that we do keep the auditorium quiet, please. Thank you. Next on the list, we do have Sarah Gardner.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
Sarah.
thank you. Thank you for having us today. Before I get going, I provided you a
Sorry,
copy.
Sarah, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Sarah Giles Gardner. I live at 17 Pine Haven Street, and I'm here to speak about the Blue Haven Mobile Home Park rent increase. That's all you needed, right? Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. I provided this for you because I know I'm not going to be able to get through all this in my speech, so, okay? Thank you. All right. In addition to the concerns that Kathy had already outlined, I just want to emphasize the need for the 180-day moratorium. It would give the residents, the council, and the attorney time to clarify confusing, contradictory statements we've received from park ownership. Without such a measure, residents are left vulnerable to misinformation, pressured timelines that undermine fair mediation. Council, we ask that you explore and enact a 180-day moratorium to protect residents while these matters are clarified. We also ask that you require ownership not to manage but to provide transparent documentation of the expenses or ownership structure and lawful compliance with rent regulations. Residents deserve to know who is making the decisions that affect their homes and livelihoods, and we deserve to be treated with respect and honesty in this process. Transparency is not across the board on all payment platforms and has been issued for many residents to obtain accurate and detailed payment receipts, which I have also included in there, some payment receipts for you to look at, as well. Some that were paid in the office, there's a stack in-office payments, and then there's some online ones. I have separated them for you in the little binding clips there, okay? So that you can see what the residents get for statements. So you can see what we're questioning in those. Reasons for the max extension would be alternative motives to sell the park to another buyer without disclosing potential sale to residents. And then, as Kathy went over, right of first refusal law placed in their portfolio online. However, they made it clear to us that we were not for sale at our town hall meeting on December 9th. If that's the case, then, oh boy, I'm running out of time. Sorry, I get stressed. Okay.
Okay, you're doing fine.
Okay. If that's the case, then the LD 1016 should not be added to our monthly lot rent per lot per month rate. This calculates to be a total added fee of $302,400, which is also included in your packet. This shouldn't be added to the tenant's rent or owner's cost, since the law was created by the state and geared towards the fee on the purchaser. And then maybe I'll skip around here. As of today, there is also nothing in writing to substantiate their proposed offer from the meeting, which they informed us they would send us a memo, but so far I haven't seen anything. It's just been either lies or lists or hearsay or nothing in writing. I don't have anything yet today. So, what? Am I done?
Yes, thank you, Sarah.
I'm so sorry, guys. I just know.
No, you did great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, hon. All right, next on the list, we do have Brian LaRoche.
Hello and good evening. My name is Brian LaRoche. I'm at 19 Reserve Circle, also a member of the committee here and over at Blue Haven Park. We thank you for the opportunity to allow us to speak on our behalf. We, the residents of Blue Haven Mobile Home Park, respectfully request a 60-day extension, if possible, the existing moratorium as well as the 180 days. This pause is essential to allow us, the resident committee, the residents, the management, city officials, to fully understand how the increase interacts with state laws and impacts our community now and in the future. Some of our reasoning behind this is transparency. Blue Haven LLC has cited a comparative study to justify the increases, but has not disclosed how or when the study was conducted. Without this clarity, the residents cannot evaluate whether the base rent is fair or accurate. The community impact. Our park is home to a significant aging population living on fixed incomes, those being Social Security, veterans benefits, disability, and others, to rise to match sudden rent hikes, leaving many of our residents vulnerable. The economic reality. According to page 2 of the Genesis Fund, report, 62,000 units, or 8% of the available housing units, are mobile homes. At the October 6th City Council meeting, the school department talked about the Alice project and reported that the annual survival budget for a family of 4 is about $108,000, and that 37% of the families in southern Maine already struggle to afford their basic necessities. Saco is no different. Actually, we're 41%, so we're higher than the state average. The ownership's proposed excessive rent increases push many of our residents' households into crisis. The purpose of extending these moratoriums would be to provide the time to review the validity of the company's comparative studies, assess the legal framework governing rent increases, explore equitable solutions that balance the needs of residents and management, to ensure decisions are made with transparency, fairness, and compassion. Housing stability is the cornerstone of community well-being, and these moratoriums are a necessary step to protect it. We are still waiting for much, much more information from the park owners to make these decisions. So even though we've made a lot of progress and moving towards mediation, there's even much, much more work that needs to go. Again, this is why we think we need the extensions on these moratoriums. And along with the comments tonight, I'm sure you guys all have extensive packets. We're submitting these packets to each of you, so there's copies of the letters from Blue Haven Mobile Home Park, LLC, our responses, a document hiding the inaccuracies and misleading statements, and other supporting documents. This documentation will allow you to compare what was communicated, what the reality we experienced, and will paint, hopefully, a clearer picture to you folks why we're really pushing hard for these moratoriums. It's just, like I said, we've done a ton of work. All the information is there. Please give us a shout if you have any questions on anything. If there's more, I mean, we have stacks and stacks and stacks. We just didn't want to inundate you with anything. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and we hope you'll consider extending the moratoriums. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the list, we have Rodney Champagne.
Good evening. My name is Rodney Champagne. I live at 17 Clayton Drive in Saco, the Blue Haven community. In addition to all the concerns already raised by Kathy and other residents, I have serious doubts about Blue Haven MHP LLC's claims on page 4 of the letter regarding the provision of low-cost housing options. For residents on a fixed income, such as disability, pension, or Social Security, this proposed increase makes housing less affordable, not more. Claiming to offer 91 low-cost housing units is contradictory when these units are reportedly selling for over $250,000, and the new lot rent starting at $750 plus additional fees, including water and proposed sewer project cost, is definitely prohibitive. We're concerned about the continuous imposition of new fees without visible improvements and the frequency with which the management attempts to increase the rent, as outlined on page 3 regarding the current lot rent structure. Furthermore, the management's claims of maintenance are questionable. They state on page 3 that they paid for tree removal and stump grinding after a tree fell on my car last year and totaled my car. But the work was not completed. More broadly, dead trees that have been tagged for removal remain untouched because the tags get removed by the park, posing safety concerns for residents, especially those located near their homes. And finally, the letter implies that if residents continue to push this topic, nothing will get fixed. Feels like a veiled threat to me. This is consistent with the past 5 years. Nothing has been fixed because management fails to communicate with residents unless necessary. We urge you to consider these facts as you review the proposed rent increase, along with the Genesis report, which we have provided to you, and urge you to approve a 60-day extension of the current moratorium. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we do have Barb Thomas.
My name is Barb Thomas. I live at 2 Meserve, Saco, in the park. I'm also a council, or a community member, and a disabled veteran. I'm I'm addressing the proposed rent increase by Blue Haven MHP LLC, and I want to formally express critical concerns regarding communication and accountability from the park's management and ownership. These issues have been raised by multiple residents, including Kathy and our other committee members previously. I would like to say we understand that the park employees aren't involved in the decision-making of that park. Compounding this problem is the ongoing refusal to disclose the identity of the park owners since the property was purchased in 2020. We have been repeatedly told that we are not entitled to this information. If the ownership identity is not relevant, how are our residents supposed to know who to contact with safety concerns when the listed park manager is frequently unavailable and emails and phone calls are not returned promptly as stated by our residents? We strongly emphasize the need for a 60-day moratorium and a possible 100-day moratorium if needed later for a pause on any proposed changes. This pause would allow residents and the City Council time to assess the impact of the new law and establish a clear line of communication with the actual decision makers who hold the authority to resolve these outstanding issues. Without such measures, residents remain vulnerable to misinformation and pressured timelines that undermine fair mediation. In communication with different members of management and ownership, there are consistently inaccuracies. As we've recently found, the sale of the park will be looming over us. We've been lied to when they told us the park was not for sale. BRT Foundation seems to think that they make the laws, but they don't. The laws are there for them to follow. In the 5 years that BRT Foundation and Onyx Bank have owned our park, they have done less than the bare minimum in our park. If you refer to my page and the increases of our rent on your back page, that is my rent. It has annually raised by $30 to $40 since we were purchased and before, except when Michelle sold that park. In January of 2020, our rent was increased to $335. Then again in August, we had another raise of $45 before they purchased the park. The following year, they added a water bill. The new increase will raise our rent $145 a month. There is a huge disparity in the proposed rent increase. Some pay little, some pay a little bit more, and some pay $145. Some do not have an increase at all. We've been given all kinds of reasons why they are raising our rent, one of them being BRT's expansion. I don't believe our community really cares about that expansion, nor do we want to pay for it. BRT Foundation needs to focus on the park that they purchased.
Thank you, Michelle. Barb, I'm sorry. All right, next up, we do have Phil Hatch.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Interim City Administrator. In case you've forgotten who I am, I'm Phil Hatch from 19 Evergreen Drive. I'm here to change the subject a little bit, although I do support the request for the extension of the moratorium. I'm here to address new business item A. As you all are well aware, one of my final City Council appointed tasks was to serve on the 3-member ad hoc grievance review committee. Ward 7 Councilor Johnston and former Ward 3 Councilor Gunn were the other 2 members. The City Council first reviewed this recommendation as new business item B on November 10th, 2025. It is before you again tonight as new business item A. Before the item moves forward through its required 3-meeting process, I want to remind you of the public comments I made at this dais on November 10th. They are intended to help you stay focused on the task and avoid being distracted by a few misguided objections raised by the public. I will explain my reasoning for why I feel they are misguided in a written message to you following this meeting. First and foremost, the City Council accepted the city grievance petition signed by over 170 citizens on December 16th, 2024, almost a year ago. Doing so acknowledges the validity of all the concerns raised in the grievance, and tonight I would suggest that you focus on taking steps to address the grievance effectively, not on debating whether you agree with it or not. Just a reminder that I'm sure you understand that you have a sworn duty to represent the best interest of the citizens of Saco who elected you. That should always be your ultimate objective. It includes avoiding unnecessary taxpayer-funded expenditures. The public ethics training session you completed on December 1st emphasized the importance of exercising conservative caution when any elected or appointed official handles conflicts of interest, whether they are actual or of appearance. Failing to properly address both types of conflicts can lead to significant financial consequences for City of Saco taxpayers if litigated in court. That is why this grievance issue is so critical. That said, if the recommendation presented to you can be replaced with another that is equally effective in reducing the public's perception that the planning board chair has an appearance of a conflict of interest, then certainly bring that alternative forward for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next on the list, we do have Kate St. James.
Hi, my name is Kate St. James, and I live at 6 Missouri Circle in Blue Haven. For 30 years, I was a social worker. I never made much money, but I worked a lot of hours. About 13 years ago, I realized I was becoming increasingly disabled and I wouldn't be able to continue working. When I retired, there wasn't going to be any 401k or retirement income. Since I'm alone, my household runs on my Social Security alone. I bought my home with the hope that it would be my home for the rest of my life and that I'd be able to afford it on a modest fixed income. The lot rent was right around $300. It went up periodically, a little at a time, until these owners bought it. Then it went up in much bigger chunks and much more often. This increase, along with taxes, insurance, electricity, and heat, would mean I would be paying about 2/3 of my Social Security, which is my only income, and I haven't eaten yet or paid for any health care or put gas in my car. So I was curious, and I did some digging into public records. I'll spare you the math and all the numbers, but essentially, based on the real estate taxes for 2026 on the Saco website for the entire park, what they pay for taxes minus the lot rent that they take in, with some people paying more and some people paying less, means they'll collect about $1,718,640 in a year after they've paid the taxes. I know there are more costs to running the park than just the taxes alone. They pay maintenance people, they used to pay the water, although we pay it now. I know that there are other expenses to running a business too. They say they spend so much money on improvements, but the roads haven't been repaired, the water pressure is terrible because the pipes are old, and safety concerns are not being addressed. I asked them to take care of a safety issue at my place, but 13 years later, nothing has been done. And now they want to retaliate by saying they won't do any other improvements if they can't raise the rent. This is a situation of a predatory company taking advantage of the most vulnerable people. What else can we do but pay their demands? It's like a ransom. Pay up or you lose your home. Most of us can't really move our homes, and if we could afford a piece of land to put it on, we probably wouldn't be living in the park. If we sell, what apartment can we go to in this area that's going to be affordable? That's a pipe dream. I would humbly ask that you continue to help us and limit the ability of these predators to destroy the lives of so many vulnerable people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next, we do have, and I apologize, Susan Leland, I'm sorry, Leland?
Yes. Susan Lalamente. I live
Lalamente.
at
Thank you.
20 Missouri Circle. I have a safety issue. I don't have a lot of.
Could you just please write into the microphone?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I have a safety issue. I mean, I really hope that we can continue to extend the moratorium because we are a vulnerable population. And I feel like the owners are very much preying on us because there's a low chance that we have legal representation. And I think that that has kind of shown that they really are out of touch with who we are and why we have chosen the place we've come to. The roads are terrible, the trees are a huge problem, but there's also safety issues that I have been exposed to with dangerous neighbors. And there were mental health issues on a home with someone in it 2 down from me, and the man would come outside with a gin bottle and shaking it, and he would come over to my house if I was mowing my lawn, and he would say things, threaten me. He said, I'm going to come after you. And he would throw things at me, and I'm going to steal anything that come to your porch. Those kinds of issues, and he banged on the door in the middle of the night. And these are real big safety issues for a woman that lives by herself. And I called management and I called the ownership, and Jeff came down a couple of times, and police were called over and over and over and over again. And they would come, but nothing happened. And it's a huge safety issue, and I don't see that they have been in touch with us at all about anything like that could be very dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Lisa DeRocher.
Hi, Lisa DeRosia, 18 Pine Haven Street. And I just want to thank all of you for being here and listening to us. Without you here, we wouldn't be in the situation of getting help. And I also want to give a big shout out and thanks to our committee and everybody that's here also representing us. I just want to start out by saying the cost of living is already too high, and Americans are going to rack up a record amount of debt on credit cards if this continues. And I also wanted to mention lot rent is supposed to be in addition to our house mortgage. It's not supposed to be another mortgage, like a lot rent mortgage. So if this increase does go up to the $650, I will have 2 mortgages. I will have a lot rent mortgage and I will have a house mortgage. Our dreams when we retire is to pay off our home and not have a mortgage any longer. Well, that's not going to be the case, because when we pay off the mortgage for our home, we're going to have a lot rent mortgage. We're still going to have a mortgage. So I just wanted to touch on that and just wanted to remind you all that it is a hardship. Everybody's living on a fixed income. A lot of people are retired in the park, living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not going to repeat everything that you guys have already heard. I just want to make sure that you're hearing our voices and to please vote for us so that we can continue voting for you, our representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we do have Hope Lambert.
Good evening. Excuse me. I'm Hope Lambert, 14 Pheasant Road. When I was new to the park, as a single mom with 2 young daughters, someone tried to break into my home at night while we were sound asleep. I immediately noticed the pry marks on my door jamb as I was leaving for work. When the police came, they found additional marks on the back door jamb. Thankfully, the locks had held. This, of course, was very unsettling and had me wondering if I made the right decision moving into the park. However, the police increased patrols in the neighborhood, and when neighbors found out what happened, they became more diligent in keeping a close eye on who was coming and going in the neighborhood. One even kept me updated as to who she saw coming into the yard. Usually it was a neighborhood kid, checking to see if the girls can come out and play. And she would tell them, "They're not home, come back later." The park ended up being a safe place to raise my children because of the wonderful neighbors that I have. Out of the 6 immediate neighboring houses to me, 3 across the street, 1 on either side, 1 behind me, 4 are the original neighbors from when I first moved in. I don't know how the increase will affect them, but it has me concerned that I will lose very good neighbors. Neighbors who have watched over each other, helped each other, whether it be mowing someone's lawn, helping a neighbor shovel their driveway, or sending their husband over with their pressure washer when mine bit the dust in the middle of cleaning the siding of my home. Even the guys that plowed around here would occasionally do a quick swipe to clear the snow mound at the end of my driveway when they saw someone out shoveling. That's what builds a community. I am fortunate to be working, although the $145 rent increase will cause some hard decisions. Do I move 65 miles away to a piece of land offered by a friend look for a new job? Will my house even make the trip or fall apart? Will her town allow me to move there? Do I cut back on what I'm saving for retirement and just hope for the best? Do I get a second job on top of my full-time job, which, by the way, is 40 hours a week? I don't know. I did watch last week's council meeting, and I'm curious about LD 1829 and LD 1850 and how it applies to mobile home parks once they connect to public sewer. And does it apply to mobile home parks? Will it alter our lot sizes? Will our rents continue to increase and lot sizes decrease too? Someone mentioned about the prices of the homes. There's one on my road for sale, $329,000 plus a $750 lot fee.
Thank you, Hope. The 3 minutes is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and last on the written sign-up list, we do have Donna Stevens, and then we will go to anyone else in the public that would like to speak.
Hi, Donna Stevens. Hi, Donna Stevens, 32 Pine Haven Street, Blue Haven. I've been blessed to live at Blue Haven. I work full-time. I can afford the lot increase. I signed up as a volunteer to walk around the neighborhood and get signatures from some of the residents that had not done that. If you can see the condition of some of the mobile homes that have been there for ages, and I knew some of the people when I knocked that they're disabled, they're on limited income. If they're over 40 years old, which a lot of these trailers are, they're not going to be able to get a mortgage from any loan company if they have to, not the people that are there, but somebody coming in, if these people that are there cannot afford to stay there anymore. Last week I did ask the owners who actually owns the park. It's brtfoundation.org. It was in one of their emails for contact. I looked that up because I know a .org is like a nonprofit or a charitable. brtfoundation.org is a charitable company that makes profits off of mobile homes, and then they give all that money away to nonprofits. They set Blue Haven MHP as an LLC. That's not a nonprofit. It would be nice if they would give some of the lower income families that have been there for a long time, who will have the $145 a month payment, if they would give some of that money, back to them. But the LLC is not a nonprofit, so they cannot give any of that money back. They mentioned about one park in New Hampshire that they offered the residents there that for 2026, they would do half the fees of what they're asking. So I'm paying $95, take half. That would only go through the end of December 2026. Starting January 2027, they're going to put the other half on. So in a sense, they're just going to extend what they're asking for now, but it will be full effect come 2027. To a lot of people, that may be very appealing, but you have to look at the long run. What they're saying we're going to get with this is they want to put public sewer in, and that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've already been approved to put 31 new homes in, and the new little road they're going to put in, 2 years ago, the erosion and sediment control plan said it was going to be $1.2 million just to put the road in, and that's just a little road. So those are the 31 lots. They also have another phase with 90 lots coming in. And someone just, I think it was Lisa, just mentioned there's a house for sale for $325. They have built.
Cut you off, Donna, but we are at the 3-minute.
Thank you.
Okay, so that does conclude the sign-up sheet. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes.
My name's Robert Henry. I live at 24 Pheasant Road. I was hoping that there would be an avenue to take a new tack to bring some fresh information, and Donna brought up some, so I'm glad I got voice, but that was a very good town hall meeting. They saw our passion. They confessed publicly, I think the man's name is Blaine, he confessed publicly that he was out of the loop and that a lot of this was fresh information to him, especially about the trees. You know, they actually got tired of hearing about it, but I mean, it's a serious concern when you have a tree that's leaning on your home. If you haven't had it happen, you don't know what the feeling is to come home to that every day. But I do want to say that I appreciate your involvement in this, and I believe that you see our concerns, and the town hall meeting, I believe, brought up their concerns, that so much of this was fresh information that I believe they would agree to, that the extension is necessary just to understand all of this. You know, I appreciate that the man was very forthcoming with the deal that he made at the other park and was accepted. But it's not the place to make a deal like that. I don't believe that was an official proposition, but these are things that can be talked at over time. So I would appreciate the extension for sure, and I appreciate you folks hearing us. I know it's not maybe a great concern on the grand scheme of things, you know, but it is to us because we're people. And just on a positive note, ending on a positive note, it was just wonderful to see all of us neighbors get together. It's just so unfortunate there had to be something like this, so dramatic that it drove us together. But, you know, I believe most of us would agree that it's been nice to see us together, see community in action. When we got it, you know, we cheered, you know, so this is really government in action, and please be encouraged that this is how government works, we the people.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Terry Dunham, and I live at 30 Pheasant Road. And my only concern, I don't know whether it may have already been brought up because we were a little bit late, was that even if they put in the town sewerage or the city sewerage, is then that cost would also be passed on to the residents to pay for that city sewerage on top of the rent increases that are becoming so unaffordable when so many of us are on fixed incomes. And I didn't, you know, I know I'm just kind of repeating things that a lot of people have already said about us being on fixed incomes, but we can't stress that enough. Our incomes aren't increasing at this age. And with the continuing rent increases, like I said, I've been there for only less than 4 years, and my rent has gone up. This is the 4th time since I moved in there, and it's gone up significantly. And I'm afraid of it driving us out of the park, and like somebody else brought up, being able to, even if it's a newer home, move a home and finding a place to put it. It's just, at this age, it's not something that's really feasible for somebody in their 60s, approaching 70 to do. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring up the point of another additional cost happening on top of rent increases if they do implement the city storage. So that's all.
Thank you, Terry.
Hello, everyone. Kelly Archer, 185 Bradley Street. I provided you with an email yesterday, and I just want to make an extra comment regarding that email. The second request to strengthen public hearing agenda materials, I know that's not an admin code, Chapter 4, Article 5. However, it was an afterthought, and I wanted it included in that email. Because I do believe that the council agendas should mimic the planning board agendas, where all the public comments, written comments that you have received from the group out back, I have not had privy to be able to see what those are. So we do need to have them on the agenda as links and mimic the planning board process. And so I added it on this email, but please note that I'm only considering the first one to be in the public hearing for later on this evening. I do want to reiterate Saco Planning Board's public hearings. Their best practice and record integrity includes all written public comments, correspondence, or submissions. They are listed on the agenda item, or if received after the packet publication, identified on the record and appended to the agenda item record prior to the final action. We have a running process. This simple change will ensure Saco operates with the higher standards of procedural transparency, aligning us with the best municipal practices and guaranteeing a defensible, complete, and accessible public record for all residents. I am also requesting, after repeated requests, that the Saco website includes those people who are included in the email. Staff, the city would like us to go council@sacomaine.org or planning board or planning@sacomaine.org. It's not just the 7 of you that are in there and the mayor for the council or the 7 planning board members. There's other people that are included in that. I would like to know who they are, and could the communications department put it on the website and update it when people come off and come on. I would like to be able to know who those extra people are in case I do want to take them out and take them off and do individual emails. As far as with the emergency moratorium, this was supposed to go to December 26, 2025. Can we get creative? Can you extend, instead of going December 15th to January, can it go from the 26th and you amend it and give them that extra 10 days that I feel that they're somewhat losing, and get it on that back end and then take it to the end of January? And also, does it have to be 40 days? Can you go ahead and make an amendment tonight and make it official to where you can go 60 days? Can you go 100? How far can you take this out to help them out in order to give them time to get the information that they need? I thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members wishing to speak? Okay, doesn't see that anyone is seeking recognition. The residents did ask for courtesy to the council if we could give them a minute or two recess as they leave the auditorium, so that way nobody is disturbed. I am willing to grant that. So we will take a quick 1 to 2 minute recess as they get up their stuff and head out for the evening and get home and get warm. Thank you, folks. Anybody that is leaving. One for that. Moving on to item number 7, the approval of the minutes. There are no minutes this evening to approve. Item 8 is the consent items. There is one item. Item A is the notice of election for the special general election for Ward 3 on January 13th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Councilor Edwards, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Parks. Any discussion or comment or wish to move? Councilor Johnston, you had his hand up first.
I was going to request to move the item, but it's not necessary. I just wanted to state, again, that, well, number one, I wanted to read it into the record because I thought it was important that, you know, we are having a special election in an off-cycle period of time for Ward 3. So I thought, again, the more information we can get out there to the public, that is beneficial to them. But I also just wanted to, again, my understanding of this is the reason we have a notice of election that requires that we publicly post in a public location the notice. It harkens back to the, you know, yesteryear, I guess, where each ward voted at specific polling locations. We don't do that in Saco anymore. We all vote at one location. And I want to bring that up because there was a question from a member of the public as to whether or not the DPW location was appropriate, given that it's not all that public. You know, I explained why that is the location. It's the one public location we had in Ward 3. But with that said, I just was going to request, if the city hasn't already, we can get out the message board somewhere probably along the Portland Road in Ward 3, so that more people will be, you know, captured and understand that there's an election in January. That's all. Thank you.
Interim City Administrator, you've got that noted down?
I have it noted. I can check on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion to approve the consent item, roll call vote. Councilor Edwards? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Hewitt?
Quick question for clarification. Just
Okay,
on-
if we are going to discuss the item, we do need to move it out of consent into action so that we can do full disclosure on that. So if you would like to move it, we can continue the discussion. And, yeah. Would you like to move it to?
Can I move it to action just for clarification purposes?
Thank you. Okay, consent item A is now moved to action item A. So we now go to item 9 under action items. And that is the notice of election for the special general election for Ward 3, January 13th, 2026, and that is Councilor Parks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The notice of election is being submitted to the mayor and council to authorize the special general election for Ward 3 scheduled for Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. The clerk, as required by Title 21A, Articles Section 622A, has prepared the notice of election, which will be posted in Ward 3 on or before December 23rd, 2025. Be it ordered that the City Council approve the notice of election for the special general election for Ward 3 scheduled for Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. I move to approve the order.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councilor Parks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnston. Now, thank you. Any discussion or comments? Councilor Hewitt.
Okay, quick question. When you look at the, on our packet, page 5, on the top it says, to notify and warn inhabitants of the city of Saco. Should it say to inform? Or is that how it's always worded?
So I believe that's how it's always worded. We usually use standard language, and the location of the voting area is the Community Center, Parks and Rec Department.
Okay. One other question. It also says that in the forenoon, which would usually be any time before noon, but voting goes 7 a.m. till 8 p.m., so it's still correct. Is that just how we always word it?
I believe it's standard wording on there.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, appreciate that. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to what was formerly item A, now item B is a public hearing, renewal application for a special entertainment permit for the Townhouse Pub, and that is Counselor Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Townhouse Management, Inc., doing business as Townhouse Pub, has applied for the renewal of the establishment's special entertainment permit. Permit would be concurrent with the establishment's liquor license. The applicant has paid all applicable permit fees, and the clerk has properly advertised the public hearing in accordance with the Saco City Code, Chapter 93, Entertainment. 93-2, the clerk has also checked with Code Enforcement, Finance Department, Fire Department, and Police Department, and there were no concerns. Move to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Motion has been made to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Hewitt. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes to open the public hearing at 7:26. If there are any residents willing to speak, please step up, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council. Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Counselor Johnston?
I move to close the public hearing and be it ordered that the City Council grant the renewal application submitted by the Townhouse Management, Inc., doing business as Townhouse Pub for a special entertainment permit to be concurrent with the establishment's current liquor license. I move to approve the order.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Counselor Johnston to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Edwards. Any discussion or comments on the item from council? Okay, roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to what was formerly item B, which is now item C, is the public hearing, the renewal application for a special entertainment permit for EKO Ingenia Marie, Maine, DBA Pacifico Restaurant. And that is Counselor Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's see if I can get this language correctly. Echo Ingenieria, Maine, doing business as Pacifico Restaurant, has applied for the renewal of the establishment's special entertainment permit. The permit would be concurrent with the establishment's liquor license. The applicant has paid all applicable permit fees, and the clerk has properly advertised the public hearing in accordance with Saco City Code, Chapter 93, Entertainment, Section 93-2. I move to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Counselor Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Edwards. Roll call vote to open the public hearing. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 to open the public hearing at 7:28. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council. Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Counselor Johnston?
I move to close the public hearing and be it ordered that the City Council grant the renewal application submitted by Echo Ingenieria, Maine, doing business as Pacifico Restaurant for a special entertainment permit to be concurrent with the establishment's liquor license. Move to approve the order.
Thank you. Motion has been made to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Edwards. Any discussion or comment from council? Okay, roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to close the public hearing at 7:29 passes 6-0. Thank you. And moving on to what was item C, which is now item D, one reading of the emergency ordinance for temporary moratorium on the mobile home park lot rental increase, and that is Counselor Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On October 27th, the City Council enacted a temporary emergency moratorium on mobile home park lot rental increases that is set to expire on December 26th. The purpose of this attached emergency ordinance is to adopt the same temporary moratorium that would be effective until January 24th, 2026. Be it found by the Saco City Council that an emergency exists, and therefore be it ordered that the city adopt the emergency ordinance for temporary moratorium on mobile home park lot rental increases, and that during the time the moratorium was in effect, the city shall prohibit any lot rent increases in mobile home parks from the date of adoption to the expiration of this emergency temporary moratorium ordinance on or before January 24, 2026, unless reenacted or repealed by the same emergency ordinance procedures. I move to approve the order.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Councilor Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Edwards. Any discussion or comment on the items? Councilor Johnston?
Thank you. The extension provides a brief, I guess it's about 40 days of relief. My understanding is that charter allows for up to 60-day extension. I know that there's a lot going on between the property owners and the lot owners or renters. We have new information provided this evening. I don't know if they've received it. So I'm just curious as to whether or not, or what the reasoning for the 40-day was versus 60 days. And then, again, as I read charter, it seems as though there's an unlimited amount of extensions allowed under emergency. Again, that's just my read of it. Though I do understand that state law is 180 days for moratoriums. Does our 60 plus whatever extra days count towards the 180 days? I'm seeing a yes over there, so that's something to think about. But yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that for now as to why the 40 days versus 60, and is council interested in doing the 60-day versus the 40 that we currently have? So.
Yep, I can answer that for you. At the town hall meeting last week, the owners had come from their mediation with one of the other parks, and they presented verbally to the residents a settlement offer, which is on paper, the increase would go into effect. They would then reimburse or credit the residents 50% of that. So whatever that person's increase is, they have the option of having it as a credit on their invoice, or they could receive a check for the amount of the year. That would last for 1 year, as they stated. That would, so then on January 31st of 2027, the regular rent would go into effect with the CPI plus 1.
Okay.
After that, because there was the offer, of course, they didn't accept right on the spot because they wanted time to discuss and to review it and to get the official offer from the park in writing, which will be coming tomorrow, I have been advised. I was told tonight that it will be hand-delivered to all residents tomorrow. Hence the email that I forwarded to council this evening with that information. So based on the town hall settlement agreement, or settlement offer, it was enacted to put in for the 30 days to see what happened with that. Give them 30 days to review it, to approve it, deny it, and then continue to work on their mediation. But with the option that we have, if nothing happens, we have the option of then renewing for the additional 60 to bring it to the 180. That was the reasoning behind.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And it actually worked out perfect because with the notice today that they were going to keep that offer open until January 31st, which gives us the time, or them the time to review.
Okay. Yeah, no, the reasoning makes sense. I guess where I'm challenged is that we, council collectively, have been shared a document this evening that, again, came from the park owners that I guess is a settlement of some kind. There's certain language in there that I'm certainly not comfortable with. So I guess, again, where I'm going with it is it makes sense to me to just give the full 60-day moratorium or emergency moratorium, because at any period during their negotiation, city council can repeal the moratorium. So why I guess I want to give...
And that's for council to choose the process.
Yeah, I'm just speaking the council at large here. My thinking here is that it would make more sense to give them and the owners as much time as possible to negotiate whatever terms they come to, with the understanding that at any time we can come back here and cancel our moratorium that we have in place. So I guess that's where I'm at with it. Be curious to, know where the rest of council stands.
Yep. Anyone else, any comments or quick discussion? Councilor Edwards.
I would agree with Councilor Johnston. I wasn't, the only thing that we were forwarded, when we were forwarded, it seemed like it was a situation where if there was a moratorium on the date of the 31st, that the deal would be canceled. Did I read that correctly? Yes. Right, so, but from those who spoke tonight, it seems clear that they are not willing to, or their desire would be to negotiate and mediate further. So I would be in agreement with Councilor Johnston.
And just remember that the public comment tonight is just a very small portion. There's a lot of people in the park we have not heard from at the town hall, and as well as the committee. I'm just throwing that out there neutrally.
Thank you.
But the small portion that we do hear from in the public hearings and the amount that showed up, there's still a whole handful that we don't know how they feel which way.
I would just add that that restriction that you just spoke to is the language that I don't personally agree with. I don't think that setting some restriction against the municipality having a rental increase provision or ordinance in place really should preclude them from agreeing to anything when it's understood that we can cancel our moratorium at any time. I didn't like that language. I know that other councilors didn't either. So I mean, I guess I would amend the motion to just make this a 60-day moratorium. We can.
Official amendment?
Well, I'm not that quick with math here. If the interim city manager wants to give me the date that we would push this out to.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to respond?
Yes, please. And that's with the 60-day, correct?
Yes.
With the 60 days, using the date and time calculator online, it comes out to February 13th, 2026.
Okay, so I would amend the motion to state, and I just forgot what you said, February 13th?
13th, yes.
13, 2026. And there are a few other areas that would need to be updated. I'm not sure if I'm going to capture them all, but number 2 on the temporary moratorium section, which is page 3 of the link, number 2A would have to be amended to be before February 13th, 2026. Number 4A would have to be amended, the date in there, 40th would have to move to 60th, so amend the word 40th to 60th in the third line on number 4A. And also in that line, change the date of January 24th to February 13th.
Okay, thank you. All right, there is an amendment on the floor made by Councilor Johnston to extend the moratorium to 60 days, bringing it to February 13th of 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Edwards. Any other discussion on the amendment only? Okay, roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Amendment passes 6-0. Back to the main motion. Any additional comments or discussion on the main motion only? Councilor Johnston.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just add that I think that, again, if the residents are not coming to a negotiation with the owner, I think that the city council should consider, first of all, we should stay in contact with us, but I think that council should consider, again, a rental increase ordinance on mobile home parks in Saco, as other surrounding towns have done. I'm not there yet, but I'm saying that we should keep that in the back of our minds going forward, because from what I've seen so far, it seems like we're kind of going around in a circle. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote on the main motion. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt? And
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on to item D, which is now item E. That is the public hearing, proposed updates to Administrative Code, Chapter 4, Article 5, Departments and Divisions, and that is Counselor Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At several previous meetings, city staff presented proposed updates to Chapter 4, Article 5, Departments and Divisions of City Ordinance, along with a crosswalk document for reference. The purpose of this initiative is to update the ordinance to reflect current operations. As mentioned during the August 25th new business review, this proposed amendment has been shared with senior staff whose edits have been incorporated into this document for reference purposes. The link to the current code is available on the E-Code website. I move to open the public hearing on Chapter 4, Article 5, Departments and Divisions Ordinance Amendment.
Thank you. Motion has been made to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Hewitt. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to open the public hearing passes 6-0 at 7:41. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak on this item, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council.
Hello, everyone. Kelly Archer, 185 Bradley Street. I am going to, for the benefit of the people in the audience and the people in the video, is going to read that first portion that I would like the council to include in the Chapter 4 amendments. I wrote to the council yesterday about the public purpose and public benefit statements that I thought were missing in the Chapter 4 that we should be addressing as far as who does the administrative code and all the departments, who do they serve? What are the benefits to the public? And I believe that if you do it not in every department, just have a concise language and add another article, add another standard 4-33, General Statement of Public Purpose and Public Benefit. I had put in all departments and divisions of the city of Saco are established and maintained for the primary purpose of serving the public interest and providing measurable public benefit to the residents of the city. B, in carrying out their duties, all departments and divisions shall act in a manner that promotes transparency, accountability, efficiency, and the responsible stewardship of public resources. C, the functions and authorities granted to departments and divisions under this article shall be exercised in furtherance of the health, safety, welfare, and general well-being of the public and not solely for administrative convenience or internal efficiency. D, nothing in this section shall be construed to expand or diminish powers granted by the city charter, state law, or other applicable ordinances. I respectfully request that the council consider directing this minor amendment prior to the second and final reading to address this gap in the current draft. While the ordinance thoroughly reorganizes departmental structure, authority, and fiscal responsibility, it does not include an explicit resident-focused, general, clear mission statement of public purpose or public benefit applicable to all departments and divisions. Administrative code governs how public authority is exercised and how residents experience municipal government, including a brief general public benefit statement similar in the structure to the recently added general statements on appointments and fiscal management, would clarify that these departments exist to serve the public interest, promote transparency and accountability, and steward public resources, expenditures of the taxpayer funds responsibly. And then for ease of consideration, that is what I had typed up. I have included a proposed draft language below, consistent with the proposed draft that you've been working months on, that could be added as a new general section without altering departmental operations, or without adding a subsection to any of it, like I just mentioned, or conflicting with any city charter or state law. Codifying explicit public purpose benefit improves clarity, accountability, and future interpretation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and Interim City Administrator. I'm Phil Hatch, 19 Evergreen Drive. I would like to submit these comments to a written record, so I will submit that in writing to you after this meeting. During my recently completed term as Ward 5 City Councilor, I was heavily involved with my City Council colleagues in drafting these updates to Chapter 4, Article 5. Much of our work was encouraged by Ward 7 Councilor Johnston's ongoing effort to align City Code Chapter 4, Article 5 with the current city charter, as it should be. For our two new city councilors, I assure you that the proposal before you has been thoroughly reviewed by all members of the previous council, resulting in the version you see tonight. Your additional constructive comments from your ward representation perspective should be welcomed, as I'm sure they will be, and I fully support the document that's sitting before you. I would like to draw attention to listed Exhibit 3, which appears on page 17 of your packet this evening. It's an email from me to the Interim City Administrator Prescott and Councilor Johnston. And paragraph 4 highlights a comment where I suggest a possible remaining misalignment between the proposed Chapter 4, Article 5 language and the city charter. I would simply ask that the council consider this comment and determine whether a charter change is necessary. It's also my understanding that Councilor Johnston will hope to initiate a city council discussion on charter changes in early 2026, which I would support, with a presentation to voters in November of 2026 regarding several charter changes that I believe will come forward. I request that this change be included in that effort. And finally, I would like to express my support for Kelly Archer's request to include her drafted language for an additional Section 4-33 General Statement of Public Purpose and Public Benefit. I believe it significantly enhances the City Council's efforts to establish a framework for effective and healthy municipal governance within the City Code, Chapter 4, Article 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Councilor Johnston?
Move to close public hearing on Chapter 4, Article 5, Departments and Divisions Ordinance Amendment, and further to schedule the second and final reading for January 5th, 2026. I move to approve the order.
Motion has been made by Councilor Johnston to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Edwards. Any discussion or comments from councilors? Councilor Johnston?
Yeah, I just wanted to, again, also support the comments by Ms. Archer, and I would like council to explore that addition to Chapter 4. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone. Roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes to close the public hearing at 7:49, 6-0. Thank you. Okay, that completes the action items for this evening. Moving on to item number 10, that is new business. We do have two items. The first one is item A, which is a follow-up from the Saco Citizens Grievance Review Committee, discussion of recommendation number 1, administrative code updates to section 4-34.
Administrator Prescott.
So this was in front of the city council under new business previously. I had taken some notes at that time, and I will prepare the notes along with anything that comes out of this evening's new business and forward it along to city council. And I'm looking for a direction from the city council as to next steps for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish, Councilor Johnston?
Thank you. So, 2/3 of the original grievance committee is no longer part of council. So, we've worked on this for approximately a year. I think we made a lot of good improvements. But I was absent at the previous meeting in November where this was discussed. But, I watched the video and read the minutes, and outside of Councilor Hatch, Berman, and Councilor Hewitt's specific comments in favor or in opposition to certain elements of the suggested changes, I did not feel that the full recommendations here were really addressed one by one. And again, with staff seeking something to, adequately move forward, I would like to kind of weigh in on these items one by one. Again, we have two new members of the council, so I'm interested in what they have to say. But I guess I will go ahead, and this is in not particular order because I think some of these are low-hanging fruit that are easier to address first. So if you're following along in the packet, we have the little subsection recommendations. And I'm actually going to start with the last one because I feel as though that's the easiest. Add a new paragraph 7 titled Planning Board Member Appoint. Whoops, that's not what I was going for. Oh yeah, no, it was. Add a new paragraph, number 7, titled Planning Board Member Appointments that formalizes the citizen application process described in the attached Exhibit 4. I think this topic for a more robust application process specific to the planning board members has been kind of floated around for at least 2 years, if not longer. I'm in agreement that adopting a more formal or in-depth application would be beneficial to both the mayor and council as we vet applicants. So that's my position on it. Again, I don't know if everybody's had the opportunity to read what Exhibit 4 was, but as I summarized, it was seeking a more thorough vetting process for planning board members. Add a new paragraph 6 that prevents any attorney from representing the planning board if any member of the attorney's law firm is a duly appointed member of the planning board. That seems rather straightforward to me and simple enough, and I believe that the planning board themselves have already taken steps in that direction. So I think we've kind of perhaps just incorporating that. I don't think there's much to debate there. I could be wrong. Then I guess the more controversial ones, we had add a new paragraph 4D specifying that no more than one member of the planning board may have an occupation requiring a main real estate broker's license. During the grievance process and still to today, I personally agree with this addition. I understand where those can say that this singles out a certain profession, but it is this specific profession that specifically generates its income from sale of real estate and is most likely to be in position of a potential conflict. We certainly can hope that one will do the right thing and recuse themselves, but are we serving the city best by having questions of conflict arising potentially with 2 members, as the ordinance allows now, at every turn? Again, on the flip side, and like I said, I do understand where individuals may feel they're being singled out. And, as I've thought about this last several months, I've thought, perhaps there's a compromise. And so I would offer a compromise or an alternative that would simply require only one member be from any profession. So currently the ordinance, it states that only two members can be from the same profession. I've found through my years and prior to actually serving on council, it was often that we had several individuals that may have been lawyers or what have you. Personally, I think that the more diverse background is probably best for the city of Saco to begin with. So that would be, not singling out any one profession there. We're just saying if you're of a specific profession, you can only have one from every profession that might be out there. So that was my thinking there for an alternative. Add a new paragraph 4E stating that no more than one planning board member may hold a part-time or full-time occupation in real estate construction or development. This too would be settled by adopting my prior suggestion. And then the last one, I think, add a new paragraph 4F stating that any planning board member with an active Maine real estate broker's license or who works part-time or full-time in real estate construction or development be prohibited from serving as planning board chair or vice chair. Again, I think this is the one that, as former Councilor Hatch indicated, has been, the controversial one or has been misconstrued by some. I guess I personally, feel that perception is reality. My experience with chairs, whether they realize it or not, they often control the conversation flow of the body. Again, like I said, it depends on the individual and how one applies the authority, but it does or it can give a higher level of influence over decision making. For those same reasons, any member of the public or even applicant, I can understand where, they may feel they have experienced an impartial review. Again, real or imagined. I think that perception, we're human. You're going to feel that way when, you specifically have a realtor or someone that's invested in, or their income source is coming from the sale of real estate. I think it's a natural question, and that's what it would be, a question of whether or not, they're approving applications because they may receive those lot sales later on down the road or what have you. So I think, again, I would say, me personally, if I was a realtor, I wouldn't want to be chair for those very reasons, because I wouldn't want to be perceived of any wrongdoing. I think as long as I've been on council, I've recused myself many times when I really didn't need to. I just didn't want that perception out there, and I would advise everybody else of doing the same. So again, I get this notion or a feeling where we're singling out a single profession. So again, I've thought about this. I've come up with several different alternatives. I'm not saying anyone's better. This is just how I've viewed this. One option would be an 8-member board with the chair to be elected by the board, the chair to serve 1-year term, which could be re-elected for 3 consecutive terms, then must serve a 1 year as a regular member before being elected as chair or vice chair again. Chair may participate in discussion but may not vote or count towards the quorum. So my rationale here would be that this would solve all questions of impartiality of a chair regardless of the profession. Additionally, it would allow for the main focus of the chair to be well-run and transparent meetings. When we did a charter change several years back where I had suggested that the mayor take over running the school board meetings, it was with this thought in mind as I had witnessed, and again, every chair is different, but, we've had chairs at time with the school board that were, I don't want to say more of a dictator, but certainly more of one to shut down conversations, skew a vote a certain way. So my thought back in, I believe it was 2017 or 2019, was if you put the mayor as the operator of the meeting, you remove that question altogether. I think it's worked very well, personally. So, same concept here. There's that option. The other option I thought of, similar to what I had just stated, was you have the council liaison to serve as the chair, and they may participate in discussion, but may not vote nor count towards the quorum. So again, it's a similar way of doing it. It keeps the board at 7, though, and retains, the 7 members with voting authority. You're just having the council, council liaison, whoever that may be, run the meeting. And then the last one, I think it's the last one, would be the chair to be appointed by the mayor with confirmation by council, regular voting permissions, or no voting authority. Currently, the chairperson is elected by the body, all of which are appointed, not elected officials. So rationale here is, this kind of places the onus on the mayor and council to designate who they believe is best fit for chair. As elected officials, we theoretically have more connection to the public than the unelected appointed body. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm interested in hearing what others have to say.
Councilor Johnson, I just want to clarify the first one, the paragraph 7. You wanted that tightened up a little bit. Did you want to add the application process that had been previously discussed at times?
That was...
Was that to be included?
Yeah, the original exhibit was to, again, it doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying that council would be creating an application that's I think that what's been presented in the past is perfectly fine, but I do think that this council should debate whether it is or not. But definitely a more formalized, right now,
Streamlined process through the
anybody
appointment.
says, I'm interested in planning board right now, and they move through the chain of command, so to speak. This would be, more of what your background is. As we've currently seen, attendance is not great, and maybe that could be avoided if we had more information on, and again, as an applicant, I would like to know what the demand is on me. I don't think people realize how time-consuming the planning board is, so that was my thought.
Okay, great, thank you. And for councilors, I would also just like to clarify that Councilor Johnson is correct in his suggestion of going to 1 per occupation. We currently are at 2, but we are also restricted to 2 members per ward as well. So I've had qualified applicants, but they've been in a ward where I've already had my 2. It does juggle a little bit. So that thought process as you're considering moving the 2 down to a 1. Do you have all of that? Everything down? Okay. Councilor Ronan.
I know that a lot of this was driven by a number of activities and projects and such that happened before my tenure. But have we, as we go through this in an effort to try to tighten up the integrity, I guess, is what we're trying to push here of the planning board, have we pulsed any of the adjoining municipalities on what their standards are for planning board participation and establish whether or not there's precedent in methodology of planning board members? I don't know why we might be inventing the wheel if, in fact, we find that 3 or 4 of our adjoining municipalities have established pretty rigorous standards that then we could comply with pretty easily because they have, in fact, a history of performance. And that's my comment to this discussion.
Councilor Johnson, would you like to
Yeah,
from the grievance committee?
An in-depth review, probably not. I know I've reviewed this through the years multitudes of times, different municipalities, but at the same time, I recognize that what might work for one municipality probably doesn't work for hours. And with this, you know, I know that we keep coming, it was one instance, but I haven't viewed it this way. I think it was one instance that really opened all our eyes to some of the weaknesses we had in this ordinance. Again, we don't even have to, as I said during the grievance process, as I understand it, we don't even have to have a planning board the way we dictate the planning board. We created that planning board. We could, and I know there are municipalities in the state of Maine where the city council is the planning board, or their elected selectmen are the planning board. I'm certainly not advocating for that. I'm just saying that it's really entirely up to the municipality to decide who has the authority over land use review. Like I said, I know how Biddeford does theirs. I know how OOB does theirs. I certainly haven't done a full review. I have looked at other states. For me, it's really about getting what's appropriate for Saco.
Councilor Hewitt?
I just want to reiterate a few statements I made previously for our new members. I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking the citizens that brought this concern forward. We genuinely value your time and your input and the research that went into raising these issues. It's appropriate that we take it seriously and discuss it thoughtfully. At the same time, I have concerns about the direction of the proposed policy, specifically prohibiting members of certain professions such as realtors, developers, construction, from serving as chair or vice chair of the planning board. The conflict of interest is a legitimate concern, and Maine law gives us a strong, well-established tools to address it. Planning board members are required to disclose conflicts and recuse themselves when matters present financial or personal interest. The safeguards work, and it is applied consistently across boards and professions. If we move toward excluding leadership roles based on profession alone, we set a precedent that becomes difficult to limit. Realtors are not the only profession who may encounter potential conflicts. Bankers, developers, engineers, contractors, tradespeople, attorneys, and others could face similar situations. Also, consider people that have retired, or my husband worked out of state as an architect and was able to serve Old Orchard Beach when he worked in Massachusetts and give them valuable input. He had no gain from it, but he had a lot of knowledge. Our planning boards benefit from the members with real-world experience, people who understand land use, zoning, construction, finance, and housing. That expertise strengthens decision-making. It does not weaken it. So as long as conflicts are properly disclosed and managed, most importantly, we must be careful not to adopt policies that unintentionally discriminate against a group or a profession. Public service should be accessible to qualified residents based on integrity and conduct, not restricted by any occupation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Gale?
So, just a couple of thoughts from kind of the late juncture that being on the council and then having this in front of me. I guess just to start off with Councilor Hewitt's point in terms of the grievance process and hearing from the public. That's something that is really front of mind for me and showing that we can take action on that. So with that, to the three counselors that were appointed to handle this, I feel like I have the utmost respect for. They put in a lot of time to come up with these recommendations. I feel like there's a reason behind these, and there's a lot of thought and consideration in them. So I appreciate that. A couple of questions, or maybe some clarifying points here to Councilor Johnston. There was a suggestion maybe of reducing the number of professions from 2 to 1, I guess, across the board. My only concern with that would be that sometimes within a profession there are differing points of view. So I think having one person more or less represent that profession may cause some issues in the deliberation. So I don't know if I would be in favor of just a blanket one profession on there, if I'm interpreting what you had said correctly. And if not, please let me know. And then I guess I just wanted to get a little more clarification. Coming from the school board, I'm pretty familiar with the process as the chair that you described in a couple of those scenarios, and I think that that worked really well in that case, in that particular with the mayor being the chair. But I was curious, you had described a scenario, the first one that you mentioned, with an 8-member board with the 1-year chair. Can you maybe repeat that or describe it a little bit more in detail? I was a little confused about that piece of it.
Yep. So the thinking with an 8-member board would be that you would keep the 7 voting members, and then effectively have you'd effectively have one person that would be the chair that would just have no voting authority. I mean, I've often seen where there are times where you have certain board members of any body where they're really good at running the meeting, and some of them actually prefer that. So that would give that opportunity to find whether it's a more seasoned member that's like, hey, I'll be chair, and it's more about keeping things flowing well. You know, again, like I said, with the school board, we used to have a situation where I always looked at it and said, well, it's, again, I'm big on Robert's rules. It's actually counter to Robert's rules because the chair, like we have with the mayor is a non-voting member of council, except in the case of a tie. Their function is to keep the meeting orderly, rein all the rest of us in. And years ago, I'd watch a school board meeting, and it would you'd get into a situation where the chair is arguing or debating members of the body, and it just looked bad to me personally. That was my opinion, which is why I offered up that charter amendment, and the voters approved it, and that removed that element. And ever since then, I think the school board meetings have run much more efficiently. So again, the thought there was, instead of keep it at 7, just like council, we've got 7, the opposite, one of the things that, well, we're by ward, but planning board isn't. But, so you do that, and then you have, allow the board to elect their chair, as they do now, and then the chair serves a 1-year term, but could be reelected for 2 consecutive terms. I went with that because that's based, I believe, they're 3-year terms, right? So that would allow one individual to, if the board chose, let them serve their full term as a chair. Then if they were reelected, or reappointed rather, they would have to serve at least 1 year as just a regular voting member, and couldn't serve as a vice chair or a chair. With that scenario, you have a chair that can participate in the discussion, but they're non-voting member, and again, they don't count towards that quorum of 7. This is something I've seen used in other, not in the state of Maine, but in other municipalities in different states. When I was looking at this several years ago, I'd actually witnessed one of these when I was in Florida. Yes, I was on vacation watching planning board meetings of a different municipality. And I thought it ran rather well from my point of view. So that was my thought there. And with respects to the comment about one profession, I didn't say any of these are perfect. I agree you could have a situation where it's just hard to find people because you have that limitation. But I also, I don't know, maybe we can hone in a little bit more on what the profession is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as you said, we have an architect. Well, there's different studies in that field or with a lawyer, right? Maybe you have a land use lawyer, and then you have a divorce lawyer, and that's okay. That was my thinking, but we'd have to define those terms more. It was just a way around of not singling out, one particular profession. And again, I believe we should have as much diversity as we can on these boards. Like, I do agree with Councilor Hewitt when you say that, we value the professionals. I fully do. But I also value just a regular old resident because they represent a segment of our community too, and they're just as valid as any other professional. So, you know, I think, again, just my perspective, I've seen, well, even currently, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I've seen more often than not when we often have, in one case, I remember we had 4 members, 2 of each were in the same profession, so it's like it wasn't a very diverse board. But I also say this, recognizing how hard it is to fill these positions, which is something we just need to work on in general. But I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Thank you. And thank you for coming up with some alternatives for us to consider.
Yeah.
I think you've brought up a couple really interesting ones, so thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I like the idea of 8. I like the idea of not singling out a particular profession, but saying 1 from each profession. My question, is there any required training that someone gets when they go to the planning board just to make sure that they have a certain baseline aptitude?
Administrator Prescott, would you like to?
Yes, thank you. We train our planning board annually. We're actually going to be moving to twice a year. And we do offer trainings. Most of it's focused on FOA Code of Conduct trainings. But we do also offer plan review and reading trainings. And then we offer the MMA, opportunity to go to MMA trainings all throughout the year. So we're constantly offering trainings, and then there's mandatory training at least once a year. We'll be moving to twice a year for that.
That is awesome. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Got the information to bring back?
I have some notes, but I will have additional questions. So if I could work with the council resource on my additional questions, that would be helpful.
Councilor Johnston, you are the resource on this. Willing to accept that when it comes back and to
Sounds good.
work with the administrator? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, second item under new business this evening. Item B is a draft memorandum of understanding, the MOU, for the CAD RMS project. Administrator Prescott.
Thank you. I actually attended a meeting in September. There was a joint meeting between the Saco and Biddeford representation from both councils. This project, the CAD RMS upgrade project, which is being worked on county-wide, was mentioned at that meeting, and it was asked that the Biddeford and Saco sides each bring back a draft MOU and start the process of working on it with their councils. So fast forward to today, and we do have Chief Clemens in the room to give a little more update on the project itself. We do have a draft memorandum of understanding. This has we're both about the same place. We're seeing it before the Biddeford City Council is seeing it. Really, the purpose of this is to outline how the project could potentially move forward. I know there's some dollar amounts in this MOU, but we just wanted to be upfront and transparent with what the dollar amounts will probably look like going forward. Those are subject to change, and we would bring those through the fiscal year 27 capital improvement budget process. But this is really to get us started and to get us moving in a unified direction. And so anyway, we have Biddeford shared this draft with us that their staff was working on. We had the draft reviewed through our legal counsel, and I'm sharing it now with you to get some initial feedback in new business. We are working on a joint Saco Biddeford meeting in January to review more details, and we are hoping to bring this back in January as more of a finalized MOU. And I've been working with the city manager over in Biddeford as well. And it would be great for you to hear an update on the project from the police chief so you know exactly what CAD RMS is. Thank you.
Chief, would you like to come on up? Get a quick presentation from him, and then any questions or comments that you have will get addressed.
Madam Mayor, Council, thank you for having me up here tonight. So just a brief background. So obviously, within the police department, we operated a computer-aided dispatch system. Somebody calls into 911, we put that into the computer-aided dispatcher CAD system, and we dispatch officers or firefighters or EMS personnel. On the police side, the fire department has their own records management system, but the other half, the RMS, is records management system. That's where we put all of our police reports, all the documentation, that's where everything is done. The current CAD RMS software package that most, or I think all the agencies in York County have, is well over 30 years old. So the system has done well, but it's end of life, it's a legacy system. So at one of the main chiefs, one of the District 1 chiefs meetings, we talked about how can we, rather than going at it independently, how can we as a county kind of do a process in order to find the best product at the best price. So that process was initiated. The county helped everybody do that. Every organization, police department, fire department within the county could have somebody come in as SMEs or ask questions. This vetting process that we went through brought it down to one vendor. It's a very good vendor. They're nationwide, and we believe that this would give us a very, very good product at a very good price. So that's kind of where we came down to in the process of what we did. Now we're at a point where, at least locally, all of the public safety answering points, so that would be York, Sanford, and Biddeford, got together with the respective communities that they represent to work through a process, the three entities working through a process to get the best price. The good thing about this product is that we don't pay anything until the product is up and running and working, and then we start paying. Once we get the MOU signed and sign an agreement with this company, it's 18 months to get it implemented.
Okay, any questions for the chief? Councilor Gale?
Just a quick question on so you'd mentioned the three entities, and the MOU is just between us and Biddeford. I'm wondering why.
Sure, they're all going at it individually with that. So the county set it up to get the best pricing, but York and the departments that they represent may have a few different needs than Sanford does or Biddeford Saco. So it was agreed that these entities would then negotiate with the company on their own for their specific needs. But with the county starting the process and going through it, everybody's getting a better price. It just depends on what individual things you want within the program.
Quick follow-up then. So over that 10-year term, though, would it be possible to include additional entities to this MOU as they potentially grow their needs for it to match ours?
Certainly. So there have been times when communities leave a PSAP and go to another PSAP. We have seen that. They would have to figure out that process, how to do that, and change the pricing. But this county-wide, we would get the best price and have it set for a very defined period.
Anyone else? Councilor Johnston?
Not a question, just a comment. I think it's good to see that, we're partnering in any way we can with our sister city, and particularly in the areas of policing and emergency services. So I think this is a good thing. Thank you.
Councilor Hewitt?
So this is a product that you feel fits the needs of Saco and you're happy with it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I had somebody, my dispatch manager, Katie Gilbert, who is intimately familiar with CAD RMS, much more so than I am. I had her involved at every step.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councilor Onan?
Are we going to data share it all between the two municipalities?
Yes. So the good thing about, the product that we currently have has something called cross-agency. So if we go into cross-agency, anybody who has that product that's willing to share information, we can see it. So if somebody's had contact in another community with law enforcement and there's an officer safety concern or whatever, we see that. That was one of the things that we were really interested in and wanted to keep moving forward. The nice thing about this product is not only will they allow sharing of information within the county, but nationally. So as long as you want to, as long as an agency in Minnesota wants to share information, if we stop somebody in there from Minnesota and we do cross-agency, we can see what kind of contact they've had with law enforcement or public safety.
Does this require additional funding to have that interrelationship, or is it
It's all
part of the
built in.
system?
It's all part of, this is, we gave them everything that we wanted, and this is what they came back with.
And as we are looking at the legacy system versus the new system, have we established any metrics that we want to measure to show whether or not we're seeing improvement in specific areas of performance of the system, so we know whether or not we're getting what we're paying for?
Yes, so we've had several demonstrations of this. We're kind of going from a Yugo to like something a lot better. I mean, the system we have, it's been a very good system, don't get me wrong. It's been a good system, but it's 30-something years old. We got it in April of 2003, and it was well established in Massachusetts before we got it. So we're having trouble as we change from, you know, different Microsoft levels. It's just having trouble with that transition. It's been a struggle. This system is up to date. It's a very well-known company. I don't want to say it publicly, but it's a very well-known company. If I told you, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. They're very, very good. But since the county approved it, I guess I can say it. It's Motorola Corporation. It's their Flex plan, which is currently, I believe, the state police, Cumberland County, there's a number of agencies that use it.
Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will bring this, Administrator Pelletier will bring this to you in January.
Thank you. And Councilor Parks, you are listed as the resource. Thank you. Okay, that completes new business tonight. Moving on to item number 11, that is the administrative update. Administrator Prescott.
Thank you. Just want to put a note out that on January 5th, we will have an agenda item for the parliamentarian election per rules and order. Also a note about end-of-year holiday closures. The Saco City Hall will be closing on Wednesday, December 24th at 11:30 a.m. It will also be closed on Christmas Day on December 25th. And then December 26th, we will also be closed in observance of the Christmas holiday. And then we will be closed Wednesday, December 31st, 11:30 a.m., and on Thursday, January 1st, in observance of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And you can see all of the City Hall hours on our sacomaine.org/hours page. Relative to the Saco Island Signal Project, for an update on Main Street, the project is nearing completion. The signal is currently in flash mode for the standard 2-week trial period and is scheduled to go live on Monday, December 29th. The final elements, such as signal coordination with Pepperell Square and Biddeford, are being installed by the contractor in the meantime, and we'll have more updates as we move along. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Okay, moving on to item 12, that is council discussion and comment. Any councilors wishing to share? Councilor Hewitt?
I just want to say thank you to the Parade of Lights and all the people who volunteered this weekend. It was a really incredible experience, and it's so great to be part of a community where so many people are getting involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to item 13, that is executive session. Is there a motion? Councilor Parks?
Be it ordered that the City Council enter into executive session pursuant to MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, Subchapter 1, Subsection 4056E, consultation between the municipality and its attorney, Lucia Kimball Health Trust matter.
Thank you very much. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Edwards. Roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Anand?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to enter executive session at 8:29 passes 6-0. and we will be in the administrator's room. Good evening and welcome back, everyone. Is there a motion to exit executive session?
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Edwards. Is there a second? Second. Second by Counselor Hewitt. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to exit executive session passes 6-0 at 9:28. Is there a report?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to item 14 is, I'm sorry, that was the report. Item 15 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Johnston. Is that? Yep. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn passes 6-0 at 9:29. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night and a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. Thank you.
Don't forget the Hanukkahs.
Put it in the holidays.